The origin of creation is a result of supernatural events that is permanently beyond the descriptive powers of physics and chemistry. However, with the intervention of right knowledge by way of the Netter Atum Ray, galactically known as Yan Nun, it is quite easy to overstand this affair. The circle and the square are two shapes in existence that is the mystery that surrounds the Netteru's handiwork called creation. The word create simply means to grow, and growth is a process. Thus, creation is something that happens over time. Now, in order to create something, someone had to exist in order to start the process. And that someone is really a group called Pa Netteru, also called the Ancient Ones, headed by a group of rays called Atumre, Atunre, and Amunre. These beings existed in an infinite state, or an infinite state, or simply a state of darkness, before they birthed the sun, the light of the physical world. Yet, before they said, "Let there be light," they had to first create a state of nothingness, in which to place the 99 elements in. This is the beginning of the supernatural, the birth of the universe, and the formation of stars, galaxies, and planets. Welcome to Back to the Basics, where you learn facts, hope you embrace it. Watch, like, share, bring in awareness. Watch, like, share, bring in awareness. I'm fearless. Welcome to Back to the Basics, where you learn facts, hope you embrace it. Watch, like, share, bring in awareness. Watch, like, share, bring in. They made the beginning exist by using an ancient science called the circle and the square. They did this performing a feat that the scientific minds of today would term as miraculously impossible. But as Etherians, they knew that the word impossible also read, "I am possible." To many, such as the Freemason Shriners, Alhambra, Knights of Columbus, Theosophical societies, and their many subchapters and degrees depend on geometric mathematics as the key to their secrets that adds up to no more than simple geometry, which etymologically means to measure the earth. The pure mathematics of points, lines, surface, and curves, which give shape to all that you know. Upon proper observation, you would find that the circle and the square are the basic forms that make up all other shapes. In fact, there's no shape nor form that does not pass through these two shapes. The square is a symbol of the finite, having four separate straight lines but ending paths. The circle is a symbol of infinite, for in a perfect circle, no one knows where the points begin or end. Only the being that connected the 2 points really knows where it began and closed. And so the circle is a symbol of the beginning and the end, or what some call the Alpha and the Omega. In Masonry, it became the tool of the master builder, and the perfect letter G became symbolic of God. If you look deeper, you will see that the G is both a circle and a square. Today, the circle and the square has much religious significance. Just think, the holy shrine of the Islamic faith is the Kaaba in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, which is a square. And you will find the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem is shaped like a circle. All of these religious societies and fraternities derive their science or theories from the facts of the ancient ones. In time immemorial, the circle and the square were known as the unidentical twins. The reason they call them this is because when studying the science of geometry, we learned that if quantities are equal to the same quantities, then they must be equal to each other. However, these two forms do not have the same shape, as many of you have probably already noticed. Shapes, however, creates illusions. You see, although these two shapes appear to be different, upon exploring their mathematical properties, you will find that they are in fact the same, equaling 360 degrees each. For a circle, the 360 degrees is the angle you get if you go around the center. For the square, the sum of the corresponding interior 4 90-degree angles equals 360 degrees, making them mathematically equal and thus the same. Now, all geometric figures originate from the circle, and in the matter of creation, the ancient ones took the infinite, which is a form of existence called free energy, and form a circle. From this incident, the circle became the symbol of the infinite. They then took the circle and formed the square, which is a symbol of the finite. They accomplished this feat by simply turning the circle inside out and placing it within the confines of itself, the square, producing a state of nothingness. They then cause them to merge, but because both the square and the circle equals the same, they both have the same magnetic charge, and thus, when two like charges are put together, they will naturally repel. However, because of the tremendous amount of force and pressure of fusion, a force that made them act, they eventually submit contrary to their natural act of repelling. And the two distinct incomplete squares form, and after further being subjected to the intense pressure of the Neteru, merge to form one single complete square. That merely means that the center of the square and the circle became one. If you look closely, you will see that every quarter part of the circle is within the square. Now, because of its unfamiliarity with its new environment, the energy within the confines of the square became restless, since it was considered free energy. Naturally, this energy tried to escape, and upon trying to liberate itself as a result, the constant action produced tremendous heat from its friction that increased to the point that the square could no longer accommodate the energy, and an explosion of enormous forces occurred. This grand event have yet to manifest on the physical plane as the birth of the universe, the formation of the stars, galaxies, and planets. This is sacred geometry. Now, you may be wondering, how could it be possible that this grand event not yet manifests on the physical plane, yet is the birth of the universe? Well, because this event was created in the etheric state, which is the state of nothingness, and thus was not part of the physical plane. The state of nothingness is merely existence that is not seen, heard, felt, smelt, or taste, as ether is yet not seen. The state of nothingness is simply when a form of energy is in transit to another state, meaning if hydrogen is the first element on the periodic table of elements and its weight or sum is 1, then one should be able to reason that anything that weighs less than 1 would have the sum of 0, and 0 is nothingness. So nothing is in fact something without a calculable sum. Just think. When modern scientists split the hydrogen atom, they found that it was made up of subatomic particles or subatom particles called quarks. What does this mean? It means that the acceptance of anything lighter than the hydrogen atom is an admittance to some intelligence or energy that is not perceivable by any equipment that they have to date. The spiritual world revealed. So, the process of creation is what happened and is still happening as the manifestation of what we perceive as the physical world, which is really different manifestation of vibration. So how does the circle and square relate to you? Well, the circle and the square relates to you because they are both symbols of the spiritual and the physical world. The circle being symbolic of 360 degrees of heavenly, spiritual existence within you, and the square being symbolic of 360 degrees of earthly, physical existence within you. When you become a master of both heaven and earth, or both realms, that's 720 degrees, making you a deity, a divine being, like the ancient masters once again. Now, how do you get there? Well, you first have to realize that you are not merely a physical being. And like the circle, you came from the infinite energy of all. That is, in your spiritual state, you as free energy were boundless and unlimited. And since your physical birth, your third eye closed, and you have become constrained to your limited physical perception, and only you are able to reopen it, no one else. Just like only the creator of the perfect circle knows where the points begin and close. You see, upon your birth into the physical realm, you became like the square, forced to become a finite being who was bounded by limits, moving aimlessly on earth in 4 points of direction: north, south, east, and west, with no destination. Periodically, however, you receive inner spiritual, unexplainable awareness we often ascribe to with words like intuition, and this is merely that free energy, spiritual aspect of you that is confined inside of the prison of the bacteria you call your body, yearning to be released. So at times it goes against you. That is why some of you would drive an automobile extremely fast, ignoring the fact that it's made of steel, and you're a fragile human being that can get into an accident and potentially die. Or if you ever went on a rooftop of a building and looked over, and sometimes a thought comes into mind that says, go a little closer to the edge. Or when you eat food, you feed the body. And a lot of people would eat bad food knowing that it's not good for them. Some of you would smoke marijuana and take drugs knowing it can potentially kill you. These are just a few examples of how the inner spiritual you is trying to return the physical body back to the earth. The real you is the soul that dwells inside, but humans forgot this, and now they do more for the body, neglecting the spiritual. And when the spiritual you finally reinstates itself, that is a form of explosion of awareness, but not necessarily by death. You do not have to die to make a spiritual connection. So, how do you get back to that infinite being? You have to first perfect the square. The finite being. That means work from what you know. And all that you think you know is the physical. And when you get to that point of physical perfection through spiritual exercises, you will feel a sort of void that will lead you back to the darkness, the state of nothingness. Then the inner journey of turning yourself inside out begins. That merely means to achieve that inner power that is already within you. Turn the square inside out. But it starts with your thoughts, which works with the mind. So, become a person who lives by the spiritual or ethereal foundation rather than a material foundation, world of density. Let me leave you with this notion. Once you were born, you forgot that your purpose in life was to gain your way back towards the source, which is your token home. But instead you became engrossed, gross matter in your own desire, while in pursuit of physical gratification and material gains. As a result, you have strayed from the original ways of the universe and the spiritual path that led you to your true destiny. Universal right knowledge, the right overstanding, on to sound right reasoning. I'm Kef Ray, and this is Back to the Basic. Like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. Peace. Facts we stated. You wanna know something? Go back to basics. Mozart trapping was called the Matrix. The world filled with lies, yet it's hard to face it. So I spread truth, hope you embrace it.